all right. We're up by a bunch. We've got the ball. Just need to get a couple of first downs, and we're going to win this game and hit the under. And we're going to be ahead of Cup this Jub by a bunch. Oh my God, this could not go any better right now.
Milestone. And he's 6 yards shy of a career high for rushing yards. And he's got it. And he's got more. And he's going to go all the way. What a night. What a season. What a player.
Oh my God, there goes the under, but at least I'm still in the lead.
And interior pass rushers, I still think led, of course, by Jalen Carter.
It was beautiful throws by Stafford to Cooper Kupp.
Why, Lord? I was so close to being back in the playoffs, Lord. I was 500 again, Lord, and the bad man. Can you feel it, Antoine and friends? The playoffs are almost here. 2 more games left in the regular season. 2 more divisional matchups to decide who's in, who's out, who's going to the garbage bowl, who's going to Titletown. It all comes down to these 2 weeks, and we've got a few games. 5 games of regular action. We got 2 teams on bye this week, and then everybody else is fighting for their playoff lives. Nobody is safe right now other than Achane of the Membrane is safe. Okay. Achane of the Membrane has guaranteed himself the number 1 seed overall. He's guaranteed himself Division 2 championship. He's crawling his way back in the capper contest. He wants to win everything this year. Are we going to let him? Let's see. Let's see who has a chance to even make the playoffs as we quickly go to the big board this week. 6 teams are either 7-5 or 6-6 going into the last 2 weeks of the season. KD's over TD's is 8-4 after a late miraculous win against a Megatron team that was all waiver wire pieces, and yet he still only lost by 3. Would have been one of the gutsiest and best wins I think we've ever seen, especially considering this part of the season. But life is not a Disney movie, and Megatron loses, goes to 6-6, 1-3 in the division, and man, his season is starting to fade into twilight right now if he doesn't pick up a win this week. Division 3 is just chaos. 7-5, 7-5, 7-5, 6-6, and the 6-6 team myself has the most points by almost 100 going into the last 2 weeks. 1-3 in the division, 1-3 in the division, 3-1 and 3-1. That's going to be a big deal. It seems very unlikely at this point that Underdog or Believer could actually be the division champion. I actually think it's impossible at this stage. I'll explain why in a minute. But both of them very much in playoff contention. Same thing up here. Cup this Chubb and Megatron fighting for a playoff wild card berth. But that divisional championship, while it is not out of reach yet, it's about to be out of reach if KD's over TD's can win his game this week. Let's see who everybody is squaring up with in our matchup reviews. First on deck for this week, we have the Brother Bowl. The winner is looking like they have a very good chance to punch their ticket to the playoffs. The loser, while not eliminated, is going to be having to do a lot of scoreboard watching around the rest of the league the next 2 weeks if they have any chance of making it. This one is a big Thanksgiving Day matchup, which should make things very interesting in the Gaines family household. Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill and Josh Jacobs on my squad, all playing on Thursday night of Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, Malik Neighbors and Jameson Williams on the other side playing for Underdog Anchor Champ. And then wrapping up the week is Bo Nix and the Denver defense that have just been putting in work each and every week. Jamar Chase, Kenneth Walker, Terry McLaurin, TJ Hawkinson. I got names to anchor this squad on the Sunday morning slots. I don't expect this isn't going to be his final lineup. Jerome Ford is clearly getting switched out for Chase Brown, who has been an RB1 since he, has taken the lead role. Zach Moss is on IR. No other competition there. I'm expecting a big game from Chase Brown, and that's a problem because we got Jamar Chase on the other side. One of those games, wide receiver against running back or running back against quarterback, where it's really all or nothing for each side. That's going to be a big one to watch. Alongside that, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, touchdowns to him make me feel good. Touchdowns to anybody else, and I am a sad, sad panda. Then you got Fryermuth that's definitely going to get subbed for Taysom Hill. And then I think we've got ourselves a matchup. Says 126 to 103 up here. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be like 126 to 120. This one's a coin toss, though. It's anybody's game. But if you're looking for something to watch over Thanksgiving, this is going to be the Thanksgiving matchup with, certainly the core of my team all pot committed once the turkey is down the gullet. Next up, we got Megatron against Troy Polamalu. Troy was almost able to knock off Cup the Chubb last week, putting up about 130, 132 in the projections. This is a scary team here down the stretch. Megatron would have loved to pull off the upset last week. Now he's trying to dig himself out of a hole down at 6-6 with a lot of poopy players here in his starting lineup. Anthony Richardson, Drake London, CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Brooks is surely not going to actually play. Oh my God, Jonathan Brooks is playing. Wow, okay. Yeah, this lineup is terrible. Megatron losing Jordan Mason, I guess, was a death blow to this team's running back squad. James Cook has been excellent. Khalil Shakir has been the only game in town, and I believe he is the receiver with the highest percentage receptions when targeted. He's got great hands on a team with Josh Allen throwing the ball. It's hard to feel bad about that one. On the other side, though, this team is just it's a very scary lineup that Troy Polamalu has here. And, it stinks that he didn't have most of his players for most of the season because he should be playing for a playoff berth here. The way it is, he's just playing spoiler right now. I'm not complaining too much. He's not in my division, but Geno Smith, Puka Nacua, Jason Smith and Jigba, Joe Mixon, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Tracy, Goff. There's no gaps on this team. Not one. Not one gap. Now, yes, there's no depth either. There's really no one for him to pivot to if anything goes wrong, but he doesn't need to. This squad is pot committed for the rest of the year. Oh, man. Megatron, he's hoping to get it, but I just don't see how he's able to pull it off against this Troy Polamalu squad, especially with the way his players are trending. CeeDee Lamb having Cooper Rush throwing the ball, or Trey Lance possibly. Jonathan Brooks, doesn't even own this backfield. James Cook has got Ray Davis vulturing him on the goal line occasionally. David Njoku is a bright spot. Derek Carr has been very hit or miss. I'm surprised we're not seeing him pick up Marquez Valdes-Scantling just to get some volatility, some upside here on this lineup because, man, right now it feels like you're just waiting to die, Megatron. It feels like you're just waiting to die. Next up, we have the rare fantasy football bye week in the regular season. H-Han and the Membrane and 666 both on a bye this week. Interesting how the schedule works out that way. H-Han, of course, already has number one locked up, number one seed locked up, bye week locked up, gets an extra bye week here. And 666 did get the big win last week against Return of the King, gets himself his second win of the season, but it's just not enough to fight off relegation, unfortunately. He is going to fall out of the league. And, at least he gets a week to take a week off, think about what he's done, think about the decisions that got him to this point. And, I got nothing. All right, moving on. Next up, it's Garbage Bowl, round 4. Return of the King against Garth Maul in an elimination game here in week 13. 5-7 against 5-7. Winner is still alive in the playoff hunt. 7-7 might be good enough for the 6th seed. It's possible right now. But 5-8, and you are for sure going home or booking your ticket to the Consolation Bowl, however you want to look at it. The point is, the winner this week is alive. The loser is dead. And right now, Return of the King, it is hard to bet against Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, and Trey McBride. That is a solid core to this team. Juwan Jennings has come on big time in the last month. On the other side, yes, you got Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, the most dangerous quarterback duo in the Antoine and Friends Football League. But are they going to be enough to overcome this very solid Return of the King squad? Jalen Waddle has come back. Last week, he got 28 points. He was a wide receiver 1. Looked really good. We'll see what he does on Thursday Night Football here at Green Bay. That Green Bay game, The Dolphins are 0-7 under Tua Tagovailoa in cold weather games. Now, they did do fairly well last year against the Bills in the playoffs. Yes, they lost that game, but it was like 32-29, something like that. So they're not dead in the water. This is copium I'm taking right now. But I think Jalen Waddle has the possibility to do something good this week. Xavier Worthy has just kind of been replaced by DeAndre Hopkins, but you don't have another choice here. Breece Hall and Travis Etienne is what it is. Breece Hall, good. Travis Etienne, meh, fine. Better than Jonathan Brooks, that's for sure. And then Dallas Goedert and Mark Andrews. Odd to start two tight ends, but if you're going to, these are two good ones to do it with. All in all, though, I mean, I think the projections have got this one pretty right. Return of the King just has more assets, more star power, more explosive fantasy potential. I think he's going to get the win and keep his season alive here. These last two games you are not going to want to miss. We've got 4 playoff teams facing off against each other, 2 division championships on the line. This is imagine the college conference championships, SEC championship, Big Ten championship. That's what we've got going on in these last 2 games on the slate this week. Check them out. Up first, we have an incredible matchup between Katie over TDs and Cup this Chubb. Division 1 championship on the line. Number 2 seed and a bye on the line. If Katie over TDs wins this game, he has clinched both. Cup this Chubb, if he wins, he hasn't clinched, but with a loss by Katie over TDs next week and a win by Cup this Chubb, he would be the Division 1 champion. I've been saying Cup this Chubb is an incredible team this entire season. He had a 5-game winning streak there that made it look like he had no chance to crawl his way into the playoffs. He is now 1 win away from securing a slot in all likelihood. This is an incredible opportunity for both of these managers to get not just a playoff spot, but a bye week. The stakes could not be higher. Looking at who both of them are bringing to this battle, Cup this Chubb has what I believe to be the best roster in the Antoine and Friends Football League. Patrick Mahomes, Cooper Kupp, Cortland Sutton, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Brock Bowers, Jonathan Taylor, Justin Herbert. And now the Detroit defense, not one gap on this team, and brings depth that no other team other than maybe HN and the Membrane can claim, with Nick Chubb, Zay Flowers, and Keenan Allen on the bench. These are fully startable assets that he's just got riding the pine right now. Nobody has got that kind of depth. Now, it does open up the possibility you make the wrong decision once in a while. That almost happened last week before Saquon and Cooper Kupp made sure that there was no question who was going to win that game against Troy Polamalu. Big monkey off the back there for Cup this Chubb, getting the sweep over Troy Polamalu for the first time in Antoine and Friends football history. Katie over TDs, though, wants to play spoiler, and he has been getting these low-scoring wins all season. Just won one last week without scoring 100 points. Now, the likelihood of Cup this Chubb not hitting 100 is very low with this lineup, but it's possible, especially with the witchcraft that KD is bringing each and every week to his lineups. And it's not like he's got bad assets to fight back with if this does turn into a shootout. Justin Jefferson, George Pickens, Chuba Hubbard, Bijan Robinson, Travis Kelce. Deebo Samuel has really been disappointing this year. Drake May has been good for a Patriots rookie running back, bad for basically everybody else. And then Matt Stafford used to be on my team. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are back. Completely changed the way that Matt Stafford's season outlook has gone. This is going to be a barn burner. I mean, it's not my matchup of the week because that's going to be my next matchup, but it's right up there. And like I said, the stakes could not be higher for either one of these guys. Last but certainly not least, it is our matchup of the week. 5 versus 3. The reigning defending champion Achilles heel against the upstart who has been in the lead of Division 3 all season long. Otto Pickens finally took a blemish to his divisional record last week in a loss to me, Bo Lever, dropping down to 3-1. Achilles heel beating underdog Anchor Champ to go herself to 3-1 in the division. Otto Pickens has got the advantage in points scored right now, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is who wins this game. The winner will clinch the Division 3 championship. That is right. They will clinch the Division 3 championship. The loser will be playing for their life next week against either myself or Underdog Anchor Champ, depending on which one of these two loses. 50-50 shot, 116 to 115. Could not be any closer than this. Jalen Hurts against Kyler Murray, edge to Jalen Hurts. Garrett Wilson to A.J. Brown, edge to A.J. Brown. Amari Cooper to DeAndre Hopkins, edge to DeAndre Hopkins. Aaron Jones to Jahmyr Gibbs, edge to Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, as I go through this, Jonnu Smith, edge to Achilles heel. Bucky Irving, edge to Bucky Irving. Jameis Winston, Kirk Cousins, edge to Kirk Cousins. I mean, Green Bay, edge to Green Bay, but it's so close, right? They could not be more evenly matched than this. The X factor in this game is, can Amari Cooper finally come online in the way that we have all wanted him to and expected him to since that big blockbuster trade to the Bills? DeAndre Hopkins has ingrained himself very nicely in the Chiefs offense. Got a touchdown last week. Almost had another one. The defense was just fouling him every time that he had a chance to score. He could have had a much bigger day here. This Black Friday game against Las Vegas could get very scary. And so it's going to be, to me, down to, does Amari Cooper live up to the expectations that we've had? Because if he doesn't, this Detroit trio that always seems like it shouldn't work, works every goddamn time. So just be prepared Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon when you're going to get your turkey dinner to already be feeling the itis from just a Lions beatdown. And then we've had the capper contest. Been a couple of weeks since I updated you there. This week, we actually had no cappers miss a single pick. That's right. The worst that anybody did was 2-0-1. One push, 2 wins. Our capper of the week is the man who went 3-0 and has crawled his way into either second or third place. The full standings will be in the show notes below. Aquanaut, $2 billion. KD over TDs, 3-0 this week. Climbed his way up the ladder. Garth Mall has been climbing her way up the ladder. It's very close to the top. Achilles heel still has that number 1 spot, but it's anybody's game now. Check it out below. Get your picks in. We've gotten down to like only 5 or 7. We've gotten down to like 5 to 7 cappers a week. Come on, it's anybody's game. Get your picks in. What do we do now, Brain? Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world and predict 6 NFL contests. Let's go to the pick 6. Number 1, we got Green Bay -3 at home against the Miami Dolphins on Thanksgiving night. Tua says he wants to kill narratives going into this game. Well, best of luck to you. I don't think you can do it. Tua has been terrible in cold weather games. The Miami Dolphins in general have been terrible in cold weather games. I haven't won a playoff game since 2000, partly because of that fact, I think. But 0-7 just under the Tua Tagovailoa regime in games that are below 40 degrees at kickoff. So this is just a fade of the cold weather Dolphins. Plus, Green Bay has been very good at home. Now, what concerns me is they dominated the San Francisco 49ers based on the strength of their run game. Miami is very difficult to run on, hasn't given up a 100-yard rusher in the last 6 weeks. That's a little bit of a challenge for me, especially starting Josh Jacobs, but I am still taking Green Bay and the 3 at home. Moving on, Jaguars +5 versus Houston. Again, less about the Jaguars because I know people are going to be like, what the hell are you doing? More fading Houston. Houston has failed to cover in the last 4 games as a favorite. They are terrible. CJ Stroud is terrible. Just lost to the fucking Titans and Will Levis after he threw a pick 6. Terrible. Give me the Jaguars, whether it's McCorkle or less likely Trevor Lawrence. Even at McCorkle, Mac Jones, I think, has his best chance to get a win the rest of the season against this putrid-looking Houston Texans team. Give me the 5 points and the Jags at home. Next, another home dog. I'm taking the Patriots +3 against the Colts. Again, I'm just fading people this week. Anthony Richardson is doo-doo butt, in my view. He had a couple of good drives against the Lions that made people perhaps think, this guy might be competent. Nope. Coming back to earth against what is a better Patriots defense than what we just saw against that Dolphins team. I think they bounce back in a major way here at home. Give me the Pats. Give me the 3. Next, we got a road favorite in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against Bryce Young. I think that game against the Chiefs was as close to their Super Bowl as they're going to get. They put everything in that game and they came up short. This Bucs team, it's a divisional matchup. I just feel like it could be closer and I could get screwed with like the big number here at -6. But after the Bucs just dismantled the Giants, they've dismantled bad teams throughout this season. I think we're going to see them do it again here at Carolina, who is tanking for the number 1 pick. Let's not get it twisted. Next, Saints +3 versus the Rams. Here's the thing with the Rams. You can beat them deep, okay? They've given up more big plays to the wide receiver position than any other team in the NFL. And who is Mr. Big Play on the Saints? Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That's right. I'm predicting another big touchdown from Marquez Valdes-Scantling and an overall good enough performance from the rest of the Saints. Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, the Swiss Army knives of football, are going to get it done here against a struggling Rams team that is looking like it's about to crash out of the playoffs, out of the playoff hunt, that is. Give me the Saints +3. And then finally, riding this until the wheels fall off, the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are 9-3 against the spread, the best in the NFL. Fade them at your peril. Going up against Mr. 30 for 30 himself, Jameis Winston, on Monday Night Football at home. We are going to dismantle the Browns. Give me the 5.5. I'll play this one all the way up to 7. That's all, folks.